pleasant good evening from the Paradise Coast, where we bring you a battle of sides craving points in USL League One play. It is FC Naples and AV Alta, and tonight's match is presented by Physicians Regional Healthcare System, care for every goal. We say hello from the Paradise Coast Sports Complex. I'm Sam Goldfarb, and this is your look at the League One table. At the moment, AV Alta 2 points above the playoff cut line, but a drop-off in their form sending them tumbling towards the edges of the top 8. Meanwhile, FC Naples 11 points off the pace as they hunt a return to form in league play. And this is a Naples squad that frankly has struggled over the course of the last 7 league games. 7 consecutive defeats, a stretch that led to the departure of Matt Poland, in which they've seen their attack die off and their defense leak goals. Zach Gordon mentioning, especially at the back, those 18 goals allowed, a major product of mistakes defensively. They've been competitive in a lot of these matches, but individual errors have held them back in their quest to get over the line and see a result over the line in this stretch. And in an attempt to shore up their back line, they made a new signing. Our player to watch, presented by Parker Hudson Homes, is Hal Uteritz, who joined the club on July 31st. He is someone Zach Gordon feels can reinforce the defense, especially with Luca Mastrantonio limited due to illness here this evening. On the opposite end of things for AV Alta, it's a team that surged through the early portion of the summer, but they've struggled of late. Just 1 win in the last 7 league matches, and going forward, the output has dropped off considerably. This is a team that is very possession-oriented, very expansive, but when the goals aren't flying in, things get problematic. And last season, around this time, they experienced a major lapse in their form that sent them tumbling from 2nd to 10th in the table, ultimately cost them a playoff berth. They hope to stabilize things here to avoid the same fate from occurring in 2026. And our player to watch, presented by Parker Hudson Homes as well, Adam Almeish, someone who paces this team in goals with 7, 10 goal contributions to his name. Someone Brian Clavin raves about, says he can play across the pitch, be it on the flanks or up front. He is in the midst of a career year for the California crew. Well, we are just about ready to get everything underway here from the Paradise Coast. The first of 2 meetings this season between Naples and AV Alta, and both looking to get back in form. Stick with us, lineups and kickoff when we return.
Luxury isn't just about where you live, it's about how you live. At Parker Hudson Homes, we craft bespoke residences where elegance meets effortless comfort. From custom builds to refined remodels, every detail is designed around you, your style, your vision, your way of living. Create a home that's truly yours and discover Parker Hudson Homes today.
See your shot land on a perfectly manicured fairway. Hear the pop of a paddle meeting the ball. Feel the excitement of cheering on your team for the big win. And when the final whistle blows or the last putt drops, the day is far from over. Because here, world-class play meets white sand beaches and award-winning dining. One visit and you'll see why this is paradise in every sense. Experience it yourself in Naples, Marco Island, and the Everglades, Florida's Paradise Coast.
This match is presented by Physicians Regional Healthcare System, care for every goal. We will get back to Naples, where it's time for our starting lineups, brought to you by VCC Roofing. And here is your look at interim head coach Zach Gordon's 11. A 4-1-4-1 setup, 2 changes from their last league match at Madison at the end of July, and one of those changes, Hal Uteritz slots into the heart of defense. Meanwhile, Omar Sis remains the pivot. Gio Miglietti leads the line for the home side. On the opposite end of things, for Brian Claben's group, just one change from Saturday night's 3-2 defeat at Richmond Kickers, and it comes up front. Miguel Ibarra pops in, the 36-year-old who has plenty of USL League One experience. He moves Cesar Behenya out wide. This is a very expansive team. Almesh and Behenya can create that width. Desdune is always tricky in the middle of things. And we are just about ready to get everything underway here from Paradise Coast Sports Complex. A pair of squads looking to rectify rocky ruts of form, and it is Naples that gets things going from right to left. Sam Goldfarb, thanking you for joining us here this evening. It is a Naples squad desperate to snap its 9-match losing skid in all comps. An AV Alta entity that is looking to stabilize the ship after a rocky spell themselves. It is a Naples squad that, during this 9-match losing streak, made a coaching change, parted ways with Matt Poland, who guided them to the USL League One semifinal in their inaugural season. And as such, Zach Gordon, the assistant turned interim head coach, has taken over. It's 2 losses under his tutelage, but he feels they've played a more attractive, protagonist, attack-minded base style. He believes that the performances have been better than the results they've gotten. It is an early goal kick for AV Alta as you get your look at Denzel Smith, the Trinidad and Tobago international. He's been the regular whenever he's not on international duty after spending a lot of time last season on the subs bench. Relaford, one of the new additions for AV Alta this winter. Play back to Smith. Well, conversely, an AV Alta squad that has been through its ups and downs this year, went winless in their first 4 matches in league play, and then managed to stabilize things over the summer. 8 unbeaten before they fell on July 1st in that defeat against Union Omaha, and since then things going back downhill. It's now time for our Keys to the Game, presented by Florida's Paradise Coast, and for Naples, taking chances key. Zach Gordon saying that they've played a more expansive style and they've gotten into good positions but haven't taken their opportunities. Just need to be more efficient in the penalty boxes. And for AV Alta, given how many numbers they're going to concentrate forward in the build, they can't afford any cheap giveaways to open up the counterattack for their hosts. There's Omar Sis, the former longtime Charlotte Independent standout. And on in the half space for Aiden Macias. This is O'Connor's cross. Falls for Macias. Tucks it over to the edge of the area, and that is an underwhelming hit from Omar Sis. Well, you'll notice Aiden Macias is in a more advanced role for FC Naples. That's an intentional alteration interim head coach Zach Gordon has made in the wake of his promotion. He said that they are trying to be more ball-oriented than they were over the course of the first half of this campaign, and that's afforded Aiden Macias a chance to range a touch further forward and get on the ball more. He said against Forward Madison, his former club, he logged one of his best performances in a Naples shirt. We'll see if that carries over now, after they had that Sarasota match at the weekend canceled. There's a back heel from Gray. It's his narrow sprinting forward on the overlap. Touches it towards Miglietti, and knocked out of play for the match's first corner. Well, fans, corner kicks tonight brought to you by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson. It is Kevin O'Connor, the usual suspect to take this for Naples. Let's see how this set piece execution has evolved under Zach Gordon's tutelage. It is a Naples squad that has only scored once from a corner all season to date. In-swinger in the heart of the area. It's headed away. Only as far as Julian Cisneros, who did score the last time these two sides met in late September of last year. Had a 4-0 throttling of AV Alta by Naples. It is a series that is evenly split. A win, a draw, and a loss apiece. Naples, after falling in California and then eking out a draw a month later, exercising the ultimate revenge over their California foes at the end of September. That a result that both helped Naples secure a top 4 seed in the USL League One playoffs last year, but also doomed AV Alta to finish outside the top 8 after sitting as high as second in mid-July of last year. Here's Cisneros for Naples. He evades the pressure well. Sprays it long to O'Connor. Torres. The all-action midfielder, not quite on the same wavelength as Julian Cisneros. And fans, it's now time for the injury report, brought to you by the law offices of Mark L. Shapiro. Big enough to handle serious cases, small enough to care. None reported for FC Naples, although it is important to note the likes of Andres Farine and Chris Garcia returning from NOG, so they're limited to the subs bench. And as we mentioned off the top, Luca Mastrantonio battling an illness, so he is only available as a substitute as Zach Gordon's staff looks to work him back up to full fitness. He will not be competing against his former club, at least from the start this evening. So far, it's been Naples on the front foot. And this new attack-minded approach has started to bear fruit. Keep in mind, this is against an AV Alta side that boasts the highest average possession in the league. They average about 60% of the ball, had 72% of it at the weekend in that 3-2 defeat against Richmond Kickers. Cisneros loses out here, though. Here's the first touch for Lay. For Kaloyan Pelivanov, Bulgarian standout. Alfredo Ortiz. Desdune, one of the top goal contributors on this AV Alta squad, ranks top 10 in the league in goals, assists, shots, and chances created. On the subject of AV Alta, as we mentioned, it's been an interesting campaign because the slow start to the season that was kind of a follow-up from the disappointing end to last year. As this cross comes in from Torres, it falls for Kevin O'Connor, and off his line quickly is Denzel Smith to claim. There's a player still down, though, for AV Alta. Nick Relaford, the 22-year-old, clutching his face after that coming together with O'Connor. I think the AV Alta players are appealing that O'Connor needlessly hit Relaford in the face. I'll take another look here. It's just O'Connor and Relaford in a bit of a scuffle after the fact, and there's a slight shove. It does appear Relaford makes a meal of this. It's a painful one, no doubt. And ultimately, a referee will not take any action there. Denny Kulasenak presiding over everything here this evening. As we mentioned for AV Alta, the slow start, then 8 unbeaten. in league play throughout the early portion of summer, and then recently just one win in the last 7 league matches. It's been a rocky go of it for the California club. It's a squad, though, that on their day can produce goals and do so en masse. Currently ranking top 8 in the league in expected goals and overperforming that XG tally by just over 1 goal this season. So this one that on their day can be extremely prolific, and in many ways a contrast to a year ago, because last season they had so much of the ball and created so many chances, but often struggled to break teams down, especially teams that sat in a low block. Brian Claben mentioning that he felt that at times AV Alta was too pragmatic and too prodding in possession. So a big impact this season in their roster build has been constructing a roster that can play a touch more vertically and a touch more directly, and that's why you've seen a little more success in the final third. Certainly benefited the likes of Jerry Desdoon and Adam Almage, who have enjoyed career seasons. Jerry Desdoon already with 11 league goal contributions to his name and continuing to produce in bunches. Here is Cisneros, Torres, 2 former teammates at Loyola Chicago in college. There's the first proper touch for Uteritz. Macias. He scored the only goal under Zach Gordon's tutelage so far. Came in that 3-1 defeat at the hands of forward Madison. That a match that Zach Gordon says if you looked at the data blindly and didn't look at the score sheet, you would think 90% of the time his squad would win. It was just mistakes at the back that caused them to fall behind 2-0 by the 75-minute mark, and then ultimately it was too far of an uphill climb. And I felt that was cause for optimism. And you get your look at the interim head man here, Zach Gordon. Just his 3rd match in charge, but someone who did play a key role on the staff for that Naples side that reached the semifinals in their inaugural season. And it is important to note, this Naples squad has undergone tremendous roster turnover. Yes, it is a 7-match league losing streak that dates back to May 30th, but a big part of that, and a big part of the lack of goals, is what they've lost this year. The likes of Carson Henderlong, who contributed directly to about 45% of their goals a year ago. They've been struggling to replace that since, as you see one of the men trying to fill the number 9 shoes, clipped at the ankles there. Does win Naples a free kick. Joe Miglietti getting himself into the thick of things, and it sets up Torres and O'Connor from distance here. Have to wonder if maybe O'Connor thinks about going direct to goal here. Instead, it's Torres who arcs it into the mix and overhits it for everyone in blue. Well, fans, tune in August 12th for the Prince Tires USL Cup quarterfinals. After 4 rounds of interleague play, 6 championship and 2 League One clubs remain alive as the knockout phases begin. Check all the action Wednesday, August 12th, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. 2 League One clubs participating in the quarterfinals, including Charlotte Independence, who do host Hartford Athletic in the midst of that 4-match Wednesday night in USL League One. That next Wednesday, and it should be a very fun way to see who the Prince Tires USL Cup semifinalists will be. There was one League One semifinalist a year ago. That was Greenville Triumph. Here's Macias for Naples. Osorio, one of the players that Zach Gordon says has stood out particularly in training. He's earned his way into the 11. And he's sprayed long by Uteritz towards Taylor Gray, and a touch beyond him. On the other end of things, Brian Claben in year 2, presiding over this AV Alta side. A year ago, some disappointment around this patch of the season. He started so brilliantly, sat second in mid-July, and then things unraveled very fast. And as we mentioned, he's made a number of changes, both to their style of play, slight tweaks to their possession-oriented, expansive approach. But in addition to that, lifestyle changes, especially when they go away from home. They focus more on staying closer to LAX the night before they travel to ensure players are better rested and you're not cramming more hours into a travel day. That, of course, would have been a consideration ahead of this quick turnaround going from Richmond to Naples in a few days' time, as Desdoun is onside and the keeper's out of position, lays it off to Ibarra, and it's headed away before it can reach the goal mouth. And an errant pass from Bahenya as he looked to pick out Desdoun. Had a major opportunity that went by the wayside for AV Alta, and their first major chance of note goes in a blink. Well, Lalo Delgado gambles here, and it's a poor gamble because Desdoun holds up and he picks out Ibarra brilliantly, and if there's more altitude on this shot, it's probably destined for the roof of the net, but he's opting for placement, and ultimately that affords the Naples defense the time required to clear it out of trouble. It's ultimately Juan Osorio that makes the block, and on 15 minutes, Naples avoids falling behind against the grain. O'Connor. This is Macias. O'Connor scoops it back up. Osorio. Sis. That is remarkable how quickly FC Naples' approach has changed throughout all of last year. As we mentioned, a counter-attack-based team. They were leveraging their pace on the flanks to exploit teams in transition, and the ability for Henderlong to hold up and absorb pressure from defenders helped as well. It's a different complement of personnel this year, though, and so they've made a change since Zach Gordon became the interim head man. They believe they're more effective as a possession-oriented team, and he believes that there's evidence in his 2 performances overseeing this squad to justify that. Now he's still hoping that they can notch their first win since May 23rd in all competitions and get that monkey off their back, but so far, definitely the more assertive of the 2 sides here. There's Pelivanov. It's cleverly done. Desdoun knocks it along to Bahenya. And Ibarra is dispossessed. Pelivanov. Lay. Now you're starting to see AV Alta establish a layer of comfort in this. Here's Osvaldo Lay, the Panamanian standout. Ortiz. In the midst of his first professional contract with AV Alta. You see him inverting in the build to add that extra man in midfield alongside Villalobos, and Lay dropping deep. Versatility like that is commanded of midfielders these days, as Relaford ranges forward, and he was offside as he looked to flick it on in the direction of Cesar Bahenya. Well, it is a devoted fan base in Labara 239. FC Naples looking to reestablish this venue as a fortress at the Paradise Coast Sports Complex. A season ago, were a fearsome entity at home, but of late, during this losing rut, those results have translated to their home pitch. In fact, their only victory since the start of May in league play, it did come on this ground in the Snowbird Derby, but outside of that, it has been a struggle at home. The defeat against Portland Hearts of Pine still weighing heavy on the minds of these Naples players. That a match in which they led 2-1 following an absolute wonder strike from Andres Ferrein, and then conceded twice. And final 5 minutes to suffer defeat. It's simply not the same Naples side we saw at home a year ago, as this is snatched back upfield, and Desdoun is in for Alta here. Has it taken off his toes, though. When you look at the home record for Naples, it is a side in league play that opened 3-1-1 through their first 5 home league matches. Since then, though, it has been more of a struggle. Just 1-3 on this ground since the start of May. It is important to note that during this losing streak, the bulk of those games have been away from the friendly confines of the Paradise Coast Sports Complex, but they haven't necessarily paid off the opportunities to get results here when they have had home games of late. Well, fans, you can watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, the nation's leading Spanish-language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. We are 20 minutes gone here in Naples, Florida, and for those joining us, Sam Goldfarb saying hello from Paradise Coast Sports Complex. There is no score between FC Naples and AV Alta, a pair of squads that have hit rocky runs of form in USL League One action. It's a Naples team that has tumbled from the playoff places to 15th in the league table since mid-May. Meanwhile, AV Alta themselves, just one win in the last 7, has seen them fall out of the top 4 and onto the fringes of the top 8. So this is a major chance for one of these two sides to rectify their momentum. And especially for AV Alta, a team in the thick of the playoff hunt. After all they dealt with a season ago, this type of road fixture critical for them. It's a long throw opportunity, perhaps, for Gio Meglietti and company. And he arcs this into the heart of the area. And the whistle sounds against Naples before anything can ensue following that clearance. Well, so far, it just seems like AV Alta has stumbled out of the blocks. They did create that one chance of note in which Juan Osorio's intervention was critical in preventing Naples from going 1-0 down, but haven't seen the fluid patterns of play we're used to seeing from the visitors just yet. Osvaldo Ley runs out of real estate on the far side. Miglietti. Miguel Ibarra doing his defensive duties all the way from striker. He's 36 years old and still covering ground like that. It's rather remarkable to behold. Villalobos, League One veteran in his own right. Second year with AV Alta. Villalobos, one of 2 AV Alta players to score the weekend, a 3-1 defeat at Richmond Kickers. That one of the more disappointing results of their season against a team that was starving for victories. 1-0 down, did find their way back with a Villalobos wonder strike from outside the area, but unlocked twice just after the 74-minute mark. And despite Joaquin Acuna pulling one back late, it was a futile comeback attempt. Do win a set piece here and a chance to ask real questions of Lalo Delgado's back line.
Contacted my shoulder. You know you suck, Denny.
It is Jerry Desdoun who stands over it. He's been the go-to selection on set pieces all year. Someone who, as recently as 2 weeks ago had managed goal contributions in 9 of his previous 12 League One fixtures. Curls this toward the back post. It's headed goalward. A tremendous save from Lalo Delgado. And a major chance goes by the wayside for AV Alta. Desdude launches it once more. Flicked along, and that just looping over. But how about this opportunity for AV Alta, the best of the match so far? It is a peach of a delivery from Jerry Desdude, and the header is right on frame from Osvaldo Ley, but it is a terrific reflex stop from an experienced goalkeeper in Delgado, and he keeps Naples level despite the real quality in that effort. And that is what they pay him the big bucks for. Lalo Delgado, a season ago, tremendous at anchoring one of the best defenses in the league for FC Naples. And while this season has been filled with more ups and downs, he is someone who can single-handedly preserve results. A veteran goalkeeper who just brings that steadying presence between the sticks for a squad that wants for experience in other positions. Zach Gordon speaking about how valuable his influence is on this squad. And despite some promising showings from his understudy, Joshua Grant, there hasn't been much doubt about who will start. Even though this has been a more open competition in the wake of Zach Gordon's appointment, just due to the desire to inspire more competition throughout the squad. Lalo Delgado's success doesn't just date back to the start of his time at Naples. 2 seasons in which he won silverware under Ayman Zayed at Northern Colorado Hailstorm, and at one point set the league's single-season clean sheet record with the Hailstorm in 2023. This is someone who has played in USL Championship as a backup for Phoenix Rising as well. He is one of the more well-traveled goalkeepers throughout the USL ecosystem in this league. His importance is something that Zach Gordon was quick to mention on the phone this week. There's Taylor Gray, who spins beyond Alfredo Ortiz. Assist and support. Instead, he floats it into the mix and overhits it for Mark Torres. Well, Fan Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Desdude. Not the finest of passes forward from him. We tick towards the 30-minute threshold. Sam Goldfarb thanking you for joining us here at the Paradise Coast Sports Complex, where there is still no score between FC Naples and AV Alta. But despite Naples having the better of the run of play, AV Alta the better of the chances. Just 9 final third entries and 2 major opportunities already. One effort that was cleared away by Juan Osorio as it was headed to a goalkeeperless net. And then moments ago, a point-blank header from Osvaldo Ley, saved by Lalo Delgado, a reflex save to deny AV Alta an opener. And at the moment, this match of cat and mouse is swinging in the advantage of the visitors. Still a Naples side that has yet to put a shot on Denzel Smith's goal. We do have a free kick here, though. Cisneros and O'Connor can deliberate on this. Well, it is Mark Torres who leaves it for O'Connor. The ball comes into the area and skewed over for another Naples corner. Set piece count starting to rise for the hosts. It will be a corner kick presented by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson, and more opportunity for Mark Torres to calibrate his in-swinging delivery here. There are a bevy of tall bodies in the mix for Naples. Floated in by Torres. It's flicked along. Took a deflection along the way. Had Denzel Smith scrambling as well. Now Cisneros. Cis. Forward for Macias, and he can't keep that in play. But this, a real chance here for Naples. One of their first of note in the match. Just a simple flick on here that is ultimately cleared off the goal line, but what appears to be Jimmy Villalobos, who's doing his defensive duties well on the set piece, and that's why you put a defender at the near post. Now the other direction, Desdune. Ibarra with numbers in support. Desdune again. It's a clever ball forward for Relaford. Osorio does well to head that back to Delgado. Well, fans, this match is brought to you by Physicians Regional Healthcare System. Care for every goal. It's a late challenge on Miglietti. The referee waves play on, though. Lay. Alfredo Ortiz in an advanced position here. The fullbacks are not shy about bombing forward for Brian Claben, a coach who is inspired by Marcelo Bielsa and the Argentina teams of the early 2000s. Not to mention some of his style influenced by his early 2000s internship with FC Barcelona and the Argentine men's national team in 2004. So he's taken bits and pieces from all of those experiences and coupling that with an expertise from his time as a scout in the Southern California area, primarily for LA Galaxy. He's started to understand the talent and how he needs to piece it together to form a winning product on the pitch. Cisneros has quickly become one of the key contributors on this Naples squad in just his second year as a professional. And talking to Zach Gordon about that phenomenon, he mentioned that he feels a lot of the reason for their mistakes at the back, in particular defensively this year, have been a product of inexperience. He says anytime you have players who are key contributors throughout the board in your second year, you are bound to make some rookie mistakes. And now it's just an issue of learning from those and almost having a trauma response, is what he calls it, to react to the trauma they experienced from the mistakes in past matches and turn it into improved output on the pitch throughout the second half of the season. Just likened it to a psychological element where it's about remembering the negative emotions you experienced after the mistake and not allowing it to transpire again. He also does feel, though, he's trying to lighten up the mood around this dressing room. Yes, it is a team that has lost 9 consecutive across all competitions, and that's something that is the headliner whenever you look at FC Naples' recent results. But he himself said he felt that things were getting a little too intense earlier in the season, and it's been his goal to bring joy back to the football that they're exhibiting on the field. And he does feel that even though they've lost these last 2 matches under his leadership, there has been signs of improvement. In particular, the XG has shot up, both against Tampa Bay and, of course, against Madison at the end of the month. We have a corner to weather here. Just AV Alta's second of the night. And it is right in front of the home faithful in Naples. Jerry Desdune and Alfredo Ortiz stand over this. What can they conjure from this set piece? It's taken short via Lobos. Back for Ortiz. Cleared away through the first line of defense. Villalobos once more. He's been an integral part of Brian Claban's midfield since the inception of AV Alta FC a year ago. Ibarra has a hit on the volley, and it's off the crossbar. It was nearly a goal of exceptional proportions. Instead, Lalo Delgado denies a wonder strike from Miguel Ibarra. Just hits this on the half volley, and it is a slight touch off Delgado that keeps the scoreline level. Remarkable work from the goalkeeper, who just touches it onto the crossbar to deny Ibarra from distance. Ensuing corner, Desdune's outswinger to the back post and clipped over by Kaloyan Pelivanov. Although it stays in play, and it is another set piece. There's a player down now for Naples, and it appears to be Juan Osorio, someone who Zach Gordon has said is shining in training and has earned this opportunity to start. Just continuing to clutch his shoulder at the moment, though. Well, the 23-year-old who joined from San Antonio FC in January is in a considerable bit of discomfort. And take another look at what caused it. Just some chaos in the box, and collides with Adam Almeish. And whatever transpired in that collision has affected him, physically at least. For a Naples squad that's already a little thin defensively, especially at the fullback spot since the retirement of Max Glasser earlier in the season, this is definitely the last thing they'd like to see. Juan Osorio, a native of New York, spent time in Colombian football before playing with San Antonio FC last season.
Visit Hopsize Brewing in Bonita Springs for our next away game and enjoy
He's impressed with his versatility, be it as a center midfielder or a fullback. And Zach Gordon may have some early match decisions to make here. It is a beautiful night in Naples. Finally, the earlier inclement weather subsiding, and we're left with this beautiful sunset on the Paradise Coast. It is definitely a destination that players consider when thinking about their next move in USL League One. FC Naples, a budding project that obviously has a history of success last season, and play in front of this lovely venue just 15 minutes from downtown Naples, where there is a budding series of shops and hotels popping up in this neighborhood of the city. Finally set to take this corner as Osorio's being tended to. It's taken short again, this time to Desdune. And Desdune has a crack, was looking to pick out Relaford at the back post, and he nearly did so. And now Lalo Delgado is down. This is really well done from Desdune. It looked like he was arcing it towards the bottom left corner, and instead it's right into the path of Nick Relaford. It was not far off this. And if he's one or two steps quicker, this may be 1-0 to AV Alta. But now the bigger concern is for Lalo Delgado. As we mentioned, his experience, the veteran presence he provides behind a relatively young defense has been invaluable, according to his coaches this year. He is a tough nut to crack between the sticks. Has battled through injury before, and at least at the moment, doesn't seem too distraught. And it seems he is content to keep going. You have to wonder what's on Zach Gordon's mind so far, because there have been signs of promise. You look at the XG, though, and it certainly favors the visitors, despite FC Naples having the better of the ball early on. It is an XG disparity that is just 0.11 for Naples and 0.43 for AV Alta, and XG is not the end-all be-all. If you talk to Zach Gordon, he will especially tell you that, given that FC Naples has had better XG in a lot of matches during this losing streak and still lost. But it's a squad that has held their own more on the possession front than we're used to seeing other teams do against AV Alta. But it is a team that has, frankly, struggled to create in the final third and has lacked that bit of incision required to unlock the visitors. Gray's looking to change that, though, and he clips it towards O'Connor, who heads it right off of Relaford. Appeals for handball waved away. And now launched forward for Relaford, who continues his run. Shoved down by Uteritz, and the ball just rolls out for a goal kick.
Goal kick, FC Naples.
Fan soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. We are in the business end of this first half from Naples. A beautiful evening on the Paradise Coast. And so far, no score between a pair of squads craving points. Naples 0, AV Alta 0. But the better of the chances, especially of late, going AV Alta's way. They've already forced a strong pair of saves out of Lalo Delgado. A near wonder strike from Miguel Ibarra mere 5 minutes ago. And as things stand, FC Naples is just looking to reestablish a foothold after a strong start has faded. Here is Uteritz, the former Sporting Kansas City 2-man. Cisneros. And he is overzealous in his attempts to win it back.
Open up your eyes, ref!
Say hop. And he is fouled by Miglietti.
Of course, ref, of course!
There have been some frustrations for Naples on both ends of the pitch. We mentioned being outscored 23-8 during this aforementioned losing streak, and I think the biggest number that concerned the coaching staff when we spoke this week was the 8 goals for, because Zach Gordon put it to me that there have been so many matches where they've gone down 1-0 and they haven't had the confidence that they're able to pull themselves back in it and secure at least a point. They've been blanked far too many times or held to just 1 goal far too many times over the course of this skid, and that's been the biggest part for their struggles, even with some of the mistakes at the back. But this is a direct play towards Taylor Gray, and a strong save from Denzel Smith, who passes his first test, and nearly on cue, Naples rectify those attacking woes. Sensational ball forward, and Taylor Gray times his run to perfection. Get a look at the Precision Regional Healthcare System instant replay. It is a tight angle. Seha does just enough to force him to take an angle closer to Denzel Smith, but Gray times his run perfectly. And on a different night, this may be 1-0 Naples. Instead, it is a corner brought to you by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson. And it is Kevin O'Connor who once again will do the honors. Another in-swinger, this tight on Smith. He has to palm it away. And we will run it right back from the opposite flank. And as always, this corner kick is presented by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson. Now Naples twisting the screws on the stroke of halftime. At the moment, Denzel Smith is tending to something on his right leg. And that is what is holding up this corner as we speak. 26-year-old Trinidad and Tobago international. He bounced in and out of the lineup a year ago and has become the mainstay for AV Alta this year. There seems to be real concern about the muscles just above his knee area. entered the night 5th in USL League One in saves and tied for 5th in clean sheets, and has made a number of big stops to keep them in matches this year. Sometimes his defense has left him out to dry, but he has been remarkable when tested for the most part. He seems happy to brave this out at least till intermission. And it is Torres' chance to make a difference. Torres, a line drive delivery that is headed away, only as far as Aiden Macias. Cisneros, he clips this in and under hits it. Well, we've hit our classic diamond plumbing stoppage time, and it is 5 minutes that separates us from halftime here in Naples. First half that has been a stop-start affair thus far, and we've seen chances both ways, but still nothing to separate the two sides just yet. That's clever from Almesh, and Lay lets it roll for Desdune. A runner in support in the form of Alfredo Ortiz. Desdune gets it back, and a continuation of the run. It was cut across, but Yearwood there first. And it's knocked away before it can go out for a corner. Only as far as Relaford, though. Pelivanov. Sprays it wide again. Taken down by Bahenya. Ibarra. It was his half volley that forced the biggest save of the match to date from Lalo Delgado, and now he picks it up in the half space. Just loses out to Yearwood. Cisneros. More of a hopeful ball than anything towards Miglietti. Was well done by Miglietti. And now O'Connor has a crack. Pelivanov was the obstacle. A rather large obstacle at that. Macias is upended. Desdune receiving a stern talking to from our referee. And Naples with another chance to posit questions of this defense. You see here, Macias just scoops it up. It's certainly a foul, and on a different day, this could have been a yellow for Jerry Desdune. Although he seems incensed by the decision. As we're midway through our added 5 minutes of Classic Diamond Plumbing stoppage time, Kevin O'Connor and company can start to pose more issues. O'Connor drives it goalward, and it's headed in! Sensational set-piece routine, and Gio Miglietti opens the scoring on the stroke of halftime. Just a second league goal of the season for Gio Miglietti, but he was brought in to do just this. A flick on header. He times his run perfectly. Appeals for offside waved away. And just like that, FC Naples unlocking AV Alta against the grain. It is a spectacular ball in from Kevin O'Connor. And Gio Miglietti, who has played everywhere this year, from center back to center forward, makes the difference just before intermission. Naples 1, AV Alta 0. Miglietti is a listed center forward. He was brought in to help fill the void that Carson Henderlong left behind this winter when he moved to Tampa Bay Rowdies. But the important point of note is that when he was brought in, there was a crisis of injuries in the heart of defense. So in the middle of May, he was asked to move into a center back role, and he filled that very adequately. He's now moved back to his center forward role, and he provides the first top-sized goal of the night to push Naples in front. What a moment for Miglietti, what a moment for Naples, and AV Alta now with work to do if they hope to procure a result away from home. We will do the PSG kickoff tactics as we tick towards intermission. Torres into the Naples night sky, and Miglietti doing his work to hold
FC
play
Naples
up.
goal by number 9, Gio Miglietti. Miglietti, goal, 47.
Osorio. It's a late challenge on Macias, and calling on Pelivanov, the penalized party. And there will be one final free kick before halftime. And you wonder if Kevin O'Connor can produce another spectacular from this sort of range. This one a little further out. But with the trajectory he put on that last ball in, you wouldn't put anything past him. This one certainly favors the right boot of Marc Torres, though. This is one of the final involvements of the first half. It is O'Connor, though, who arcs it in once more, and that is not quite as well placed as his previous one. Relaford. Is there time for one final break forward? Instead, it's turned over to O'Connor. Gray has room to hit it. Knuckles wide. Suddenly, the wind in Naples sails, though. There is the halftime whistle. It was a first half of ebbs and flows, but just before intermission, Gio Miglietti providing the decisive blow. And at halftime, FC Naples holds a 1-0 lead in this must-win fixture. A strong first half performance from the home side in which they weathered the AV Alta storm and found the breakthrough on the precipice of intermission. Gio Miglietti, the difference maker, as FC Naples takes a 1-0 advantage into halftime. We will take a quick breather here from Naples when we return a look around USL League One. Stick with us. welcome you back to Naples, Florida, at halftime. FC Naples holds a 1-0 advantage over AV Alta. Halftime is presented by Physicians Regional Healthcare System, care for every goal. And at halftime, it gives us a chance to check in on the future of USL League One and the stadiums that are popping up throughout the USL.
They are more than shiny and new. The latest collection of brand new stadiums in USL are a commitment to communities. Fans in Boise have set attendance records. Finishing touches greet the fans in Fort Wayne weekly. In Greenville, Triumph fans are in love with their permanent new home. These projects take time and patience, but nothing gets a community excited like seeing a shovel in the ground. Detroit City of the USL Championship has gone from dreams to renderings to construction. At its recent groundbreaking in Southwest Detroit, Alumni Phi Stadium became a vision for the very near future.
We've been incredibly fortunate to create something that's way bigger than us, and that we have the great fortune of being stewards of it. And the stadium represents really an investment in that community, an investment in this neighborhood, a tremendous investment in the city, and something that will be around for generations to come.
With this stadium, the club is investing in its future and demonstrating a long-term commitment to building a sustainable, community-driven club. I'm excited for what the future holds for Detroit City. I can't wait to be back here for the opening match in 2028. And I want to say congratulations to the fans, supporters, ownership group, and the entire community that made this amazing new home possible.
At 15,000 seats, Alumni Phi raises the bar for Detroit City. Soon there will be more groundbreakings and sounds of stadium construction as USL gets closer to the launch of Premier.
Takes a bounce. First time shot, it's in! The Vermont Green have equalized!
Rebound, they score! What a goal!
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Hay mucha fiesta, señor Martino. Hay gente revancha, doctor. Pero falta gol y estamos a esperar a un gol. ¿Hugo Sánchez?
Sí, tira para adelante.
¿Quién maneja? ¿Un futbolista? ¡Llegamos por fin! ¡Ay, bendito sea el chapar, doctor! Hugo, ¿regreso a las canchas? ¿Algún consejo?
Sí, confía y cree en ti.
¡Ey! ¡Vas al norte!
A donde me dé la oportunidad, pero listo para dar el paso.
¡Listo, vamos!
This is your moment.
Prinks Tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines, from early mornings to late nights, from fun with friends to winner takes all, from the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks Tires will be there for the long haul.
We welcome you back to Naples, Florida, with a halftime presented by Physicians Regional Healthcare System. FC Naples holds a 1-0 advantage over AV Alta, courtesy of Gio Miglietti's late flick-on header. And now it is time to look at our scores around USL League One, starting with last weekend's scoreboard presented by the Florida's Paradise Coast. Here is your look at the weekend scores. A 3-3 draw between Greenville and Portland. That's the standout result of the weekend. And then as you head further throughout the schedule, a disappointing defeat for AV Alta. Meanwhile, Ford Madison continues their red-hot streak with a 2-0 victory over Westchester. And then as we look ahead in USL League One, a number of fixtures to keep your eye on this weekend in the division. The Cosmos looking to bounce back after what looks like it will be yet another defeat against Richmond. They take on Spokane Velocity. Meanwhile, AV Alta, they host Fort Wayne at 11 p.m. Big one to watch as well. Chattanooga hosting Omaha. That fixture in particular is always a fun one. Well, that is our look around USL League One, and plenty to keep your eye on beyond that. It's now time to check in with Dan Lucas, who has our halftime update in USL League One.
It is time for the USL halftime update in League One. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with the headlines. Forward Madison's role continued into the month of August with another victory. Forward Ryan Carmichael scored a hat trick in a 5-2 win over Chattanooga, the first hat trick in club history. And Madison's home unbeaten streak has now reached a club record 11 matches. Earlier this week, big plans for Portland Hearts of Pine, a brand new stadium, not only a vision for Cassidy Point in Portland, now the club has acquired the land it needs for the project. The Waterfront Stadium will host the men's and women's teams and is expected to hold 9,000 to 11,000 fans. Wednesday the 12th, it's the quarterfinals of the Prinks Tires USL Cup. Charlotte Independence and Spokane Velocity carry the torch for League One. USL will perform its test run of football video support, allowing coaches 2 requests for video review of 4 areas: goal or no goal, penalty or no penalty, direct red card, and mistaken identity of a yellow or a red card. Upcoming national spotlight games, all on CBS Sports Network. Omaha hosting Richmond on the 16th. Phoenix Rising and Colorado Springs on the 19th, and that game is also on 2DN. And then Orange County hosting FC Tulsa on the 22nd. This is the USL halftime update. Let's get you back out to your match.
When you taste freshness straight from the Gulf, prepared by creative chefs who are always raising the bar, it elevates your appreciation for what dining can be. From today's catch to international cuisine, there's always something new to sample. And with flavors this remarkable, you can't help but realize this is paradise in every sense. Taste it yourself in Naples, Marco Island, and the Everglades, Florida's Paradise Coast.
Back to Naples, where tonight's broadcast is presented by Physicians Regional Healthcare System. care for every goal. Well, back here as we get a look at our standout moments from the first half with our first half highlights presented by Physicians Regional Healthcare System Care for every goal. And it was a fast start for AV Alta. A number of opportunities that went by the wayside. This one of the bigger ones. Miguel Ibarra gets on the end of this after the cutback from Jerry Desdune, and it was just cleared off the line by Juan Osorio, who makes himself an obstacle. And then about 10 minutes later, a real chance from a set piece, a flick-on header from Osvaldo Ley that is right at Lalo Delgado. A strong palm and a strong reflex save from him to keep it out. On 30 minutes, FC Naples with a chance, a flick-on header that was headed away by Jimmy Villalobos. And then 5 minutes later, probably the best chance of the match for AV Alta. What a hit this was for Miguel Ibarra, and an even better save from Lalo Delgado, an instant save of the week contender. And then on the stroke of halftime, before this header from Gio Miglietti, there was one further chance. Desdune putting this in the quarter of uncertainty, and Nick Relaford nearly gets there. A story of major chances that went begging for AV Alta. And then the other direction, FC Naples towards the end of the half started to threaten. This chance from Taylor Gray, forcing Denzel Smith into action. This is a strong save at his near post. And then finally, in first half stoppage time, it is a laser-like delivery from Kevin O'Connor, a towering header from Gio Miglietti, and just like that, 1-0 on the precipice of intermission. It comes slightly against the grain, but FC Naples in front. And now it's time for our first half stats presented by Arthrex. Does an injury have you benched? Explore orthopedic treatment options at orthopedia.com, presented by Arthrex. And you look at the numbers, they mostly favor AV Alta. More of the possession despite starting slowly, more shots on frame, less shots though, and most importantly, less goals. FC Naples, the touch of clinical finishing required, and the visitors, despite their control of the match, have work to do if they hope to get something from this one. Just about ready to get everything back underway here from the Paradise Go Sports Complex, where FC Naples desperately seeks its first victory since May 23rd, over 2 months ago. That result, a 1-0 triumph over Westchester, and it had many parallels to this very fixture, because around the same time in the first half, they struck through William Arevalo, who opened the scoring in first half stoppage time. That goal ultimately was the difference maker as they were able to see things out in the second half. It is a different goal scorer tonight in Gio Miglietti, who produced his second league goal of the campaign in first half stoppage time. But it is similar timing to that Westchester fixture, and if they can see it out, it would be the same exact scoreline, barring an insurance tally. Well, it is now time to resume things. AV Alta now going from right to left on your screen, FC Naples from left to right. And the question is, will it be Naples snapping the losing streak, or will it be AV Alta turning this around and getting back on the right foot? And before we can get back underway, it seems we'll have to redo the kickoff because it was taken in a way that displeased our referee, Denny Kulashinac. So it is attempt number 2 from Jerry Desdune. So back underway now from Naples, Florida. For those joining us, Sam Goldfarb saying thank you for tuning in here from the Paradise Coast. It is 1-0 to FC Naples. The goal scored by Gio Miglietti. A towering header just before intermission. And AV Alta, for all of their dominance on the possession front and more shots on goal, they still find themselves trailing. And Cisneros wins this cleanly off Adam Almesh. And here's Taylor Gray. The key now for Naples is protecting this advantage. A year ago, that was their specialty, absorbing pressure and seeing results out. This year, though, more struggles at the back. They've had situations where they haven't seen results over the line. And it is a 7-match league losing streak that dates back to the end of May, so plenty of demons to exercise if they are to snap that.
A yellow card has been issued to FC Naples.
The yellow card was shown moments ago to Gio Miglietti.
Brought to you by the
The goal scorer now walks the tightrope for the remainder of this fixture. That yellow card is presented by the law offices of Mark L. Shapiro, the exclusive personal injury attorneys of FC Naples. you do have to wonder what the team talk was like from Brian Claben, because there were real moments of promise from AV Alta, both out of open and set plays in the first half. But the problem is, for all of those moments of promise, there was not the final touch. And Lalo Delgado equal to their two biggest chances of note, denying both Osvaldo Ley and Miguel Ibarra. And so, for all of the good that you've seen from them, it is a scoreline that all of the AV Alta fans will be less than thrilled with. As you get another look at the yellow card, a tug on the shirt from Gio Miglietti. 10 times out of 10, that'll get you in the book. Cisneros. It's a high arcing cross that evades everyone, and just a goal kick. If this result were to hold, and that's a big if, given that there is a lot of football left to be played, FC Naples would jump 3 places to 12th in the table. It would also knife the gap between themselves and the playoff cut line to just 8 points. And the psychology of cutting into that deficit and shrinking it from double to single digits likely can't be overstated, especially when you consider the new management at the helm that has revolutionized the way they approach fixtures in the last few weeks. It's a team that Zach Gordon said was raring to play Sarasota in the Battle for Paradise at the weekend. That match ultimately canceled on the day. This has been about 2 weeks now of just pent-up energy, looking to get back in the win column and maybe provide some proof of concept to this newer, more expansive approach that they've undertook. Rilliford scored it back to Smith, who's under real pressure from FC Naples at the moment. Gray. Linking up well with Omar Sis. And then he goes studs up into the back of Osvaldo Ley. Well, for all of the talk about Naples' losing streak, it is important as well to discuss that AV Alta needs this result about as much as their hosts do. It's just one victory in the last 7 league matches. I think Pierce Taylor Gray's gotten himself into some trouble with our referee for this tackle. He's diving to keep it in play, but gets none of the ball and all of Osvaldo Ley. And that ultimately is what draws our officials' ire. And it is a yellow card presented by the exclusive personal injury attorneys of FC Naples. The law offices of Mark L. Shapiro, Taylor Gray, the second Naples player to be booked since the restart. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus your live matches from the USL MLS Premier League and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Cisneros snatches this backup field for Naples and strolls on. Looking for Macias, who does get there. Macias just unable to weave his way through the tight corridor. It's taken off him at the last. Here is Almesh, a quiet first half by his standards, but he bypasses Yearwood here. It is excellent recovery defending, though, from Mark Torres. It's been a frustrating opening 50 minutes or so from a lot of the high-profile AV Alta attackers. You look at this team and it screams firepower, a squad that only ranks middle of the pack in goals with 28 on the season. But prior to this little skid, they were much further up in that category. And you look at the talent they have individually. Jerry Desdoon, Adam Almeish, not to mention even Osvaldo Lays pitched in going forward, and then you have players who play a little further back who contribute as well. Just have yet to see them put their magic fingerprints on this fixture. And now they're behind it again. O'Connor's cross towards Gray. It's not far off, and it's tracked down by Cisneros. He does win a corner for FC Naples. The first of the second half for Naples, and it is brought to you by Anderson as always. Trust your home to Anderson.
Substitutions for AV Alta. Entering the game, number 9, Joaquin Acuna.
AV Alta is now making a change, and we're hearing word that Adam Almeish's night will come to a premature conclusion. Godwin Antwi is set to replace him. Meanwhile, Joaquin Acuna is also entering for the visitors, so a double change for the visitors as they look for an avenue back into this. Just a third league appearance for Joaquin Acuna since coming back from last season's season-ending injury in the middle of July, and he is now out there. Here's another corner brought to you by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson. Well, the other player to depart was Miguel Ibarra, so Almeish and Ibarra off, Antwi and Acuna on. And Ibarra had the two best chances of the first half. He exits just after the 50-minute threshold. Mikolietti and Lay receiving a stern warning from Denny Kolasinac. And it looks like we're finally able to get on with this corner. In-swinger from O'Connor. It's to the back stick. Never contacted cleanly, though. Well, both substitutions presented by Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee, Moore and Paradise, and you see them now on your screen, both like for like. The much younger Acuna for Ibarra, as well as Godwin Antwi on for Adam Almeish. And if you know anything about Godwin Antwi, you know he has quite a right boot on him. Scored a thundercracker against Ford Madison for his first goal of the season on May 9th, and it was a goal of the week. Just a tremendous strike to double the lead in what was a 2-0 victory. Lay in an advanced role. And it's just a question of whether that touch came off him when he was still in play. It appears it went out of play. Before that it was the case, so it is the first AV Alta corner of this second half. And suddenly it's become a set-piece duel at the moment. Jerry Desdoon with more target practice. Can he pave an avenue back into this for AV Alta? It's a high arcing ball that was curling with menace, but curled too quickly. When you think back to the situation AV Alta was in a year ago, and we've discussed this because it does parallel to last season with the way you're seeing the form take a slight tumble towards the tail end of the campaign for AV Alta. It was an Alta side that opened the year 7 wins, 3 defeats, 5 draws over the course of its opening 15 matches of the season, and then tumbled, just one win in its final 16 games across the board. Ultimately sent them falling from second to finishing the year in 9th. And it was a real disappointment for Brian Claban's group, because it was a side that was all but locked into a playoff game in the middle of the summer and saw everything unravel. He's mentioned all of the approaches they've taken to ensure that doesn't happen again. But anytime you endure a run of form that goes to 1 win in 8 league matches, just wonder if maybe the doubt starts to creep in amongst some of the fans, or they're just asking questions. It is a project, though, that Brian Claban believes in. It is a game model that he continues to refine and tweak, and he does feel that over the course of his tenure at the helm of this club, it will become a dominant, prevailing style over the league. In many ways, runs counter to what we saw last season, with many teams opting to play without the ball more and counter. In some ways, it did play into the hands of the opposition. This season mixed it up a touch more to be slightly more dynamic and diverse. It's a well-weighted ball from O'Connor, but Miglietti can't take it in. And now here's Lay. First touch for Godwin Antwi. He is not shy about running at defenders. 20-year-old out of Aguadana, who signed his first professional contract after a couple years at the University of San Diego. Bahenya. Still have yet to see him influence this. There's an appetizing cross, though, and it's tight on Delgado, who was ultimately fouled after Acuna sprinted into him. There isn't anything in this, but it certainly is coming together that will leave a bruise on Lolo Delgado. It's a ball that dips in with plenty of menace, and it is in the vicinity of Acuna, who has every right to challenge for it. He doesn't get there, and instead gets a body full of Delgado, who is back to his feet and seems content to keep going. Well, if they can see this out, you have to figure he will be the primary reason why. Already 2 monster stops when they were level at 0-0, and he just continues to put himself in harm's way and take every bump and bruise that results. Just a fearless goalkeeper. Through an hour, he's done everything right. This is arced forward towards Macias. Flag stays down. It's well timed from Denzel Smith, who manages to stay in his own penalty area. It's a risky maneuver, but one that pays dividends. Alfredo Ortiz. Antwi. On the other side of things for Naples, a result like this could change the entire trajectory of their season. Sometimes when you see teams make a managerial change, especially such a high-profile one as this, with a manager that was as successful throughout his inaugural campaign at the helm as Matt Poland was, things can go south. Players can maybe lose faith in the project, but that has not been the case since Zach Gordon took over. He says that in the first 2 performances, he saw real signs of promise and real signs of potential and improvements in their creativity in the final third. Here tonight, they have certainly been improved from a game management perspective. Maybe not the cleanest display, but it's got the job done so far. If they can handle the onslaught that will surely ensue over the next half hour, it will be a major defining moment that could spur them on. Fans are starting to sense that here at Paradise Coast Sports Complex. It just ratcheted up a notch since halftime. Ortiz finds his way into trouble, but bailed out after the contact from Gray. Alfredo Ortiz. Uteritz is there to marshal things. Cisneros picking up a pocket in the half space and pinging it forward. Macias. Cisneros again. It's broken up well by Pelivanov, who allows AV Alta to recover. Those are the moments where Zach Gordon said they can really get at AV Alta. It's a team that plays a very free-flowing style in possession, and you see the right backs, the fullbacks in particular, just bomb forward and move into advanced roles. That opens them up when you win it back upfield, and it's moments like that where they pick it up quickly that they have to strike, and if not for Pelivanov, they could have been through on goal for a second. The counter-attacking approach hasn't been as effective when they've been forced into a mid-block for Naples, but we've seen moments where they can get at AV Alta, especially since going in front. Here's Rellerford and Sweep. Shoves Sis off it. He continues on. Cunha's touch, but no one there to greet it. It is just an AV Alta throw.
Substitutions for AV Alta. Entering the game with Kate Christian.
AV Alta making a change. It is Nick Rellerford who exits for Christian Ortiz. And in addition to that, one further alteration, Steven Ramos entering the fray as well for the visitors, a academy product who has rapidly made himself one of the regulars in the AV Alta squad since the midway point of last season. And he replaces Osvaldo Ley. So Ortiz for Rellerford and Steven Ramos for Osvaldo Ley. Both changes presented by Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee Moore in Paradise. Christian Ortiz, some experience to the fold, now in the midst of his third professional season. After spending some time with Arizona Monsoon and Nisa. Joined the club last season ahead of their inaugural campaign. Meanwhile, there is some concern for Gio Miglietti, it seems, who is currently limping off the pitch with the aid of the physios. So Naples' goal scorer in some discomfort at the moment and limping gingerly. And he will actually come off the pitch. So Gio Miglietti's night comes to a premature conclusion. He's replaced by Chris Garcia, one of the more dangerous presences going forward all year for Naples. That change presented by Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee Moore in Paradise. It's good to see Garcia back in the fold. Someone who did miss 4 straight matches with injury before returning in early June against Charlotte. He's been in and out of the 11 all year with some nagging issues and entered this week with a bit of a fitness concern, but he's good to go the final 25 minutes, according to Zach Gordon, and here he is as he replaces the bigger, more physical Miglietti up top. Andres Farine has also entered as well. He replaces Omar Sis. That's a more interesting swap for Naples because Omar Sis has been the player breaking everything up in the center of the park. Andres Farine is a more dynamic wide presence that specializes in bombing forward, and they immediately try to slip him in behind, but far too much on it as it rolls to Smith. So it seems Farine will lead the line, and you'll see Garcia and a more deeper line roll. O'Connor moving into the middle now. Here's Desdoon. Garcia doing his defensive work. Christian Ortiz. Desdoon once more. Villalobos. Alfredo Ortiz. Ramos, his first touch, and pings in a decent cross. Was knocked along by Antwi. Falls for Desdoon. Antwi again, drawing multiple defenders. You see him just looking to cut in on that right. Instead, he gives it away. Macias, fouled by Kaloyan Pelivanov, and a yellow card immediately brandished as the counter was broken up. We get a look at the Physicians Regional Healthcare System instant replay. You see Matthias cleverly touch it beyond Pelivanov, and then he is upended. It is a clear yellow card for stopping the counter. And that yellow card presented by the law offices of Mark L. Shapiro, the exclusive personal injury attorneys for FC Naples. Kaloyan Pelivanov, the 22-year-old Bulgarian in the book. And the first AV Alta man to walk the tightrope for the remainder of this one. Torres breaking a line. It's a physical tussle. Garcia bundled over just outside the area. And it is another yellow card shown. There was a question over whether he was in the area at the time the contact started. But instead, it is just a set piece outside the penalty box. It is Christian Ortiz, the substitute, immediately booked for tugging the shirt, and it does appear that the contact initiated outside the penalty area, so our referee's gotten that right. And Naples, who has already scored off of one set piece, with a chance to do so off of another, as that yellow card is sponsored by the exclusive personal injury attorneys of FC Naples, the law offices of Mark L. Shapiro. Once again, Torres and O'Connor in the vicinity. And once again, a convoy of blue shirts crowding the penalty area. It's a tight angle. You have to get this delivery right and afford them the ability to redirect it in rapid succession. It is Torres who goes for goal and just skies it. He was looking to catch Denzel Smith out, and if it had been on frame, it may have. Fans, this match is presented by Physicians Regional Healthcare System. Care for every goal. Final 20 minutes back in here from Southwest Florida. And for those joining us at Paradise Coast Sports Complex, we say hello. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action tonight, where FC Naples is on the verge of snapping its 9-match losing streak in all competitions. The goal scored by Gio Miglietti on the stroke of halftime off of a well-placed delivery from a set piece by Kevin O'Connor. That is the only point of difference as things currently stand. AV Alta chasing after this with plenty of attacking personnel on the pitch. And now they've got numbers striding forward. Desdoon plays it along to Bahenia. It's a well-timed intervention from Cisneros and just a corner. All corners for AV Alta have not resulted in any clear-cut chances of note. Can Desdoon change that here? In-swinger. It's a decent ball that's tight on Delgado. Falls for Antwi. Desdoon once more. Beyond Garcia. And now bundled over in the penalty area, and no hesitation. Our referee points to the spot. It's a clumsy challenge from Chris Garcia, and he pays the ultimate price. A golden chance for the visitors to level from 12 yards. It's a poor challenge, this, from Chris Garcia, who's pleading his case, but he ultimately is juked out of his boots and then gets none of the ball, just strides across Desdoon's right foot. And Desdoon does go down relatively easy, but it is illicit contact in the penalty area, and Desdoon knows what to do with it. Immediately on the ground and immediately a point to the spot from our official. It will be Jerry Desdoon, the man who won the penalty, to take it. He has been the go-to on penalties all year long for AV Alta. A perfect 3 of 3 from the spot in league play. And one of their most prolific goal producers. Stares down Lalo Delgado. Desdoon against Delgado, a key inflection point in this match and potentially both of these clubs' respective seasons. A long run up, and Desdoon delivers. It is a cheeky penalty, and AV Alta are level. Frustration for Naples. It's a clumsy challenge from Chris Garcia. It's not a lot in it, but Jerry Desdoon sells the contact well, and then from the spot, the long run-up sometimes can backfire, but this time he just holds his nerve as Delgado dives the wrong way and floats it into the top right corner. It is Naples 1, AV Alta 1. Jerry Desdoon with a 7th goal of the season, a 4th from the spot, and their talisman pulls them on terms. Jerry Desdoon, someone who has revitalized his career across his 2 seasons with AV Alta. Took a 1-year hiatus from competitive professional football and actually played most recently for Ventura County Fusion in the amateur ranks. Joins AV Alta ahead of last season and immediately made his mark as one of their more creative presences. 6 goals and 6 assists in all comps a year ago. Well, he's already eclipsed that tally in terms of goals. A 7th league goal on the campaign to pull them level. And here he is once more. Desdoon shoved down outside the penalty area, and a free kick in a real spot of bother for Naples. And things might be boiling over now for the hosts. Desdoon still down on the pitch. AV Alta's goal scorer is starting to tie this Naples defense in knots. Cisneros shown a yellow card for his reaction. He just shoves Desdoon to the deck. And ultimately our referee, following that, books him for the overt expression of frustration. Well, a year ago, this would have been Lalo Blanca's territory. Now the question is, who has a lash at it, as that yellow card is presented by the law offices of Mark L. Shapiro. Unsurprisingly, it appears to be Desdoon, who would have to get this up and down relatively quickly. A 6-man wall for Naples. Does Desdoon have a spectacular in his boots? Desdoon curls it, and it deflects off the wall. Just a corner for AV Alta. Naples holds their nerve there. But it was a corner that ultimately led to the foul in the penalty area moments ago. And as we head into the final 15 minutes, this hangs on a knife edge. Desdoon within swing. It's dangerous, but headed away. Now comes back to Jerry Desdoon. This cross dipping. Flicked to the back post by Yearwood, out for yet another corner. And the corner count is starting to mount for AV Alta. Well, the corners are a real spot where they can pose problems. Now an outswinger from Desdoon. falls into the heart of the area. Ceja grappling for it. Instead, it's away by Osorio. Desdun. We enter the dying embers of this one, and it is all square. It's a Naples squad that defensively has been through its woes in times like these. It's the joint third most goals allowed in the league. Entered the night with 30 goals allowed, now 31. And they've already seen late leads slip out of their fingertips. In fact, as recently as July 3rd, they experienced that heartbreak against Portland Hearts of Pine. Helivanov. Kept in play by Osorio. And out for an AV Alta throw. It's these moments that define a season. If one of these two sides can procure a winner, it could change the entire trajectory of their momentum. And for Naples, it could kickstart a postseason push. For AV Alta, it could shore up what has been a really shaky vein of form lately as they look to avoid the repeat of last season where they won only one of their final 16 matches down the stretch. Garcia conceded the penalty moments ago, but has it taken off his toes. And only as far as Cisneros. Torres. Cisneros again. Desdun tracking back.
Substitution
Now changes for Naples, and it is one of their new signees, Nicolas Liculia, the 30-year-old, with plenty of experience in the NPSL and Nisa, makes his USL League One debut in place of Taylor Gray. And Naples showing signs of intent as they look to chase this. Liculia in, Gray out. That substitution presented by Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee. More in paradise. Liculia signed on a 25-day earlier this month, and there is his first touch. O'Connor. Wide for Cisneros, who ventures forward. Cross on the half volley. Far too much on it. Cristiano Ortiz out of danger. And Acuna knocking it along to Antwi, who is fouled by Chris Garcia. And Chris Garcia now shown the yellow card for his reaction. Yellow cards are starting to pick up for Naples. Garcia in the book, as is Cisneros. A pair of players subbed off with yellows as well. And this is all in the reaction. It's the foul itself, not much in it. It's just a simple challenge to break up any chance of a break. But then he reacts pretty vehemently. And that's what ultimately causes our ref to brandish the yellow card. And as this wears on, needless yellow cards like that, you just wonder how they influence the conclusion of a fixture. Garcia now has to avoid any other reckless tackles, as that yellow card is also brought to you by the law offices of Markel Shapiro, the exclusive personal injury attorneys of FC Naples. Now in the final 10 minutes from the Paradise Coast Sports Complex. And this match hangs in the balance. Acuna watches it roll out for a corner.
Corner kick for AV Alta, brought to you by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson.
It is now Godwin Antwi over it, with Desdun walking over as well. And he will cede this corner to his attacking counterpart. Another outswinger from Desdun. Doesn't clear the first line of defense. And Garcia away. And as far as Cristiano Ortiz, who does handle the pressure solidly. Liculia. Antwi. He's fouled by Likulia. You look at a stat that maybe doesn't make Naples fans' eyes light up, but this FC Naples side has dropped the joint 5th most points from winning positions in USL League One. 8 points dropped from winning positions. As of now, that number would climb to 10. That would be the second highest tally in the league this year. It is a far cry from last season when they were one of the better squads at escorting results over the line. It is amazing the difference a year can make, especially when you lose not just your star forward, but your 2 starting center backs in Jake Dengler and Breck Evans. His team left with a void at center back ever since, especially considering the constant onslaught of injuries there. As Macias is sent to the turf, and a yellow card shown to Alfredo Ortiz.
Number 3, Alfredo Ortiz. This yellow card brought to you by the law offices of USL Shapiro.
You see here, it's just scooped up and ultimately given away, and then the late foul as well after the fact. It is Alfredo Ortiz who enters the book. That yellow card presented by the exclusive personal injury attorneys of FC Naples, the law offices of Mark L. Shapiro. Here's Garcia. Likulia falls for Kevin O'Connor. Cisneros can't corral it. Smith out of trouble for the time being. Acuna flicks it along well. Antwi giving chase. As this heads into the final 10 minutes, it becomes a question of how much either of these sides opts to chase it. Obviously a draw, not the dream result for either squad, but given the vein of form both have been in, it's productive, especially for Naples. Would snap that 7-match league losing streak. Would be the first point they've secured in the league since May 23rd. Meanwhile, for AV Alta, you are away from home. It's cross-country trip. All in all, a draw is not the worst thing in the world, especially following that defeat at Richmond last weekend. Ramos via Lobos. There's a player down for Naples, and play goes on. Bahena. Cesar Bahena. Desdune to Villalobos. Always rising, but that's the area where he really makes a difference. It's well done. A back heel from Desdune, and Villalobos just gets too far underneath it. He's looking to shape up and aim for that top left corner. And that is his bread and butter, that late box crashing role where he's had so much success in his 2 seasons under Brian Claben, who has invited him to be a little more forward thinking in the build than he was during his time at Forward Madison a year prior. Here's Antwi. Alfredo Ortiz has been inverting constantly into midfield so far. Christian Ortiz. 5 minutes remain. And a critical 3 points hang in the balance for one of these 2 squads if they can find a winner. Farine. It's nearly turned over. Yearwood. Now it is turned over. Desdune once more. Desdune in the penalty area. Desdune cuts it across. Antwi has it taken away and knocked out for another AV Alta corner. This match is one of Jerry Desdune's magnum opuses. You just see him cut this back across for Godwin Antwi, and every positive action in the second half seemingly has come off of his boots. And now Desdune with another corner. Bahena nearby. He goes direct again. This is a quality delivery, but Delgado first to it. It falls for Christian Ortiz, and off the post. He caught it sweetly. The chance isn't lost, though. Bahena curls it goalward, and just wide. Two massive chances from outside the area, and both missed by slim margins. Cristiano Ortiz, it skips off the turf. There's no chance for Delgado there, and it just hits that left post. And then Bahena did not miss the other by much. And fans, it gives us a chance to let you know that the USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. This shaping up to become must-watch in the dying embers. AV Alta with two colossal chances to win it late that narrowly missed. And now changes taking place for FC Naples. Aiden Macias will depart for William Arevalo. That's a like-for-like change in the center of the park. Macias exits after a productive shift, but one in which he saw his influence wane over the course of his 87 minutes, and Arevalo brings fresh legs to a midfield battle that Naples has been losing for the better part of an hour. That substitution presented by Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee, more in paradise. Delgado pings it long. Flicked along by Cisneros. Arevalo dealt the contact. Our referee will not give a foul, though. Final 2 minutes of the initial 90. And there will be a lot of eager eyes trained on the fourth official's board in a matter of moments. Acuna. If the reports we're hearing are correct, it will be a hefty number of added time. So these next 90 seconds are not what will define the match. Torres can't find the ball wide to Garcia, and instead it's arced the other direction. Beyond the reach of Joaquin Acuna, though. Naples fans will undoubtedly think back to their last home match against Portland Hearts of Pine, where they fell on 90+5. That was headed forward by Des Dune, and it falls to Bahena. Squirted away, and the whistle sounds against the visitors, as now Farine gets into it with Steven Ramos. It's the final minute of the initial 90. It goes all the way through, and it falls for Farine, who finishes! They have just won it! Bedlam in paradise! Delgado just arcs it forward. It falls perfectly for Andres Farine, and he catches this so sweetly. First time finish, no chance for Denzel Smith, and Naples may snap the losing streak in some style. 2-1. A third league goal of the season for Andres Farine, who always seems to pop up in the biggest moments. And on 90+1 minutes, he powers Naples back in front. That goal presented by Hopsized. And now it is just time to find out how many minutes of added time presented by Classic Diamond Plumbing. We're hearing word it is a hefty number, so there is time for AV Alta. 7 minutes of stoppage time remain. So there is time for them to salvage something. But as things stand, Naples set to notch their first league victory since late May. for AV Alta, getting a result out of this feels paramount because they've already suffered one road defeat against the bottom half League One team this week. That came at Richmond. They fall again. It sets them up rather poorly for that home fixture against a solid Fort Wayne squad that has punched above its weight so far this year. It is at home, and that's a difficult trip out to California. But you never want to go into any fixture on the back of consecutive defeats against teams parked in the bottom half. And not just parked in the bottom half, situated in the bottom half. Alfredo Ortiz, he is fouled by the combination of Liculia and O'Connor. Delgado is fouled. Joaquin Acuna getting into it with the Naples goalkeeper. And another yellow card brandished. This to Joaquin Acuna, the substitute. Another yellow card presented by the exclusive personal injury attorneys of FC Naples, the law offices of Markel Shapiro. It's unnecessary. It's minimal, but it's certainly not warranted. And Delgado, for his part, does well to sell it. And he is still slow to return to his feet as he wastes precious seconds off this clock for AV Alta.
At a time, this half presented by Classic Diamond Plumbing, serving Collier County for over 25 years. Mention FC Naples to receive 10% off your plumbing services.
Midway through the added 7, but you would fancy the ref to let the match clock go at least a minute beyond it, because there was about 50 seconds of celebration after Fareen's would-be winner on 90+1. Answape. And Acuna cannot keep it into touch. Now O'Connor forward, Aravalo chasing. Ceja under pressure. And Fareen nearly taking it off him. 3 minutes remain of the added 7. Villalobos. Torres looks for Liculia, and it sails wide. Time winding down rapidly on AV Alta. They're staring at a consecutive defeat against two teams parked initially in the bottom 3 of the table, although this result would send Naples soaring up the standings to 12th in the live table as things stand. Meanwhile, for AV Alta, they would sit just 2 points above the playoff line, but their teams below them with 5-6 games in hand, Chattanooga in particular. And it's all popping off now. Acuna backing up his teammate Christian Ortiz. And you look at the live table though, and AV Alta, this is the 21st match they've played this year. Chattanooga just 16. Not to mention Fort Wayne, who they face in a crucial 6-pointer around the playoff line on Saturday. 3 matches in hand on AV Alta. Cannot afford to drop unnecessary points, and that's what they've done this week, at least so far. Final minute of the added 7, although you'd fancy it to run a touch beyond the added 7 minutes. Frustration for Manswaite. Chance for Naples to ping it into the quarter of uncertainty before the time is up. You'd think this may go towards the corner flag if they don't arc it into the box. It's Hal Uteritz as everyone strolls forward for the home side. The match reaches its climax, and they go direct for the corner flag. And sweep. Doesn't reach Acuna, who continues to chase after it. Osorio tracks back well. We are now beyond the added 7. Arevalo. Flick on towards Garcia. Just out of play. And is there time for one final AV Alta attack? Pelivanov. The fans urge the referee to blow his whistle. A desperate craving for 3 points. Desdone. Last gasp for AV Alta. Bahenya curls it in. It's headed on. Just wide from Acuna. And that may have been the chance. There's been a desperate hunger for 3 points since May 23rd, the last FC Naples League victory against Westchester. We are potentially moments from that craving being satiated. Well beyond the added 7. And there is the full-time whistle. For the first time in over 2 months, FC Naples secures 3 points in USL League One play, and they may have just kick-started their postseason push. It finishes FC Naples 2, AV Alta 1, and Andres Farin, the hero, on 90 minutes with his late first-time winner following the direct delivery from Lalo Delgado. FC Naples puts the demons of this 7-match league losing skid on the back burner, and they topple a top 8 side on home soil. Naples wins 2-1, and a big result for this Naples squad. We'll take a quick breather here from the Paradise Coast. When we return to look back at the 90 minutes that transpired, Andres Farin, the hero, will take an entire gander at it when we return. Stick with us. Welcome back to Naples, Florida, where the fans leave in full rejoice mode because FC Naples on the stroke of full time securing a late winner as they topple a top 8 side in AV Alta by a 2-1 scoreline. And it's now time for our full-time highlights brought to you by Physicians Regional Healthcare System. Care for every goal, a thriller in Naples, and we pick things up on 25 minutes with our save of the match presented by Carter Fence. Quality Fence's trusted service for over 35 years. It is this strong snapshot save from Lalo Delgado after the header from Osvaldo Ley on the free kick, and the Naples would tuck themselves in front with Gio Miglietti's header from the set piece just before halftime. This pushing the home side in front, and they took a narrow advantage into halftime. But then on 71 minutes, Jerry Desdune, with other ideas, wins a penalty for the visitors after this late challenge from Chris Garcia, and then he just floats it into the top right corner, waits for Delgado to dive the wrong way. It's Desdune's 7th of the year to push AV Alta level. But on 87 minutes, you see AV Alta continue to ask questions. This a lovely effort from Christian Ortiz that kisses off the post, and then a follow-up from Behenya that went wide. But the defining moment came exactly on 90 minutes. Delgado's goal kick falls perfectly for Andres Farine, who drives it first time into the bottom right corner. That the decisive moment to push Naples to their first 3 points in over 2 months. You look at the full-time stats presented by Arthrex. Does an injury have you benched? Explore orthopedic treatment options at orthopedia.com, powered by Arthrex. The numbers actually favor AV Alta across the board. 61% of the ball, an 11-10 shot advantage, and a narrow advantage on shots on goal. Not to mention an XG advantage of nearly an entire goal. But the only stat that matters is the goal stat. And FC Naples winning against the grain in 2-1 fashion to climb to 12th in the USL League One table. Well, what a night it was here in Southwest Florida. FC Naples, for the first time since May 23rd, win in USL League One play. They snap a 9-match losing skid across all competitions and continue the woes for AV Alta. For our terrific crew, I'm Sam Goldfarb saying so long from Naples, where it finishes Naples 2, AV Alta 1. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.